Hi everyone. Good morning from Italy. Good night if you're following something else somewhere else. We're back. Happy New Year! First time in 2024. I'm here on the show. We are here for the watch along of the match between Andrey Rublev, who's playing for the first time this season, and Liam Broady, second round of the Hong Kong 250 ATP event. We've seen a lot of tennis these days. Today, probably one of the most entertaining days of the week with all the tennis that's going on. And yeah, the match has already started. If you can see on the scoreboard, just Rublev held to love. Just too early to draw any conclusion from that. Broady is coming off from a very good start of the season. First round, he comfortably beat Pedro Cachin, 6-4 6 love. So really good start. Yeah, Broady has ended his 2023 season on a very high note. He also entered the top 100 for the first time. Really a player to keep an eye on because he's growing his level really fast in these past months, and for sure 2024 season will be a very good test for him to try to stay where he is right now and maybe go even further. Now serving for the first time in this match. As for Rublev, first match of the 2024 season, I think the main goal for him should be maybe ending his curse in the major quarterfinals. He reached 3 last year, won none of them, and overall in his career is love 9 in such matches. A bit unlucky last year. The draw never has fallen apart near him. So he played Djokovic twice and Medvedev at the US Open. But for sure, I think that this is going to be his main goal. Yeah, Broady is a friend. He's a friend of the show. We'll see how this match is going to go. First point of the match for him. It's a misreturn from Rublev. Yeah, in my prediction, I struggle honestly to see an upset. Today, Rublev is usually one of the most consistent players in early rounds and even smaller tournaments. So I'm struggling to not see from him a quite a solid performance today. That's a long rally. Slight mistake from Broady with the backhand, so 15-30. There's already a little chance. Yeah, today we've also seen a lot of. What do you think about Carlos Yannick, Daniel? No warm-ups for Australian Open. Yeah, it's a bit weird that none of them has signed for anything before the Australian Open, but I think it's also because of the long season. Especially Sinner finished almost in December because of the Davis Cup, so I think it's reasonable for him to just not play anything. We saw that something can occur to you if you don't have the proper rest. We've also that's in the challenge was requested here. So I think that especially for Sinner, it was a little bit predictable to not play anything. in Melbourne practicing. Um, Djokovic did so even sometimes in his career, and didn't really affect him. Um, so we will see how it will be for all of them. A lot of curiosity for Alcaraz, because last year he wasn't in Australia, so he's coming back for the first time since 2022. He was a seeded number 32 last time he played the Australian Open. Um, so I'm very interesting to see how he's going to play there. And Medvedev, yeah, played usually plays good in Australia. He used to play the ATP Cup, where when Russia was allowed. Last year went to Adelaide. We'll see, but I think that it's an effect of the long season. There are some players who ended their season on, let's say, 10 November with the Paris Master, and so they had more rest. While this player who went to Turin and also went to progress to the semifinals and to the final, of course, they ended the season very late. So I think it was also a little bit predictable from them. Meanwhile, here Rublev has already broken. Started really solid from the baseline. Great passing shot on return. Broady was trying a seven volley, which yeah, was a little bit unpredictable, but Rublev was ready to pass him with the back and return. Uh, Top four. Do you think he can make top four? Are you talking about Rublev, right? He's I think. Uh, um, yes, about Rublev. I mean, Rublev is one of the most consistent guys. Also, talking about how well he basically plays wherever he goes. Talking about the conditions, the surface. He can even do well on grass. We saw this year at Wimbledon playing very well and troubling Djokovic, at least for the first two or three sets of their match. Um, Plays incredibly well on clay. Well, where maybe some higher ranking players struggles a little bit. Talking about, for example, Djokovic in Monte Carlo, Medvedev, he won Rome, but he's not very consistent on clay. So let's say that it's difficult to predict. He has to do another little quality jump to make it. But if he has a good sunshine double, which I think it's not impossible given his seeding, um, he can reach this fourth position at least for some weeks. Maybe not staying there consistently. I don't think so. But if we are talking for some weeks throughout the year, why not? Of course, he needs some help from the higher ranked player, because if these four players plays like they did at the end of the year, of course it's difficult to imagine. But let's see. A good point here from Broady, who's trying to pump himself. The start has been quite difficult, but here with his lefty forehand was doing the major damage on the run. Rublev has another chance. Yeah, which has capitalized. Missed backhand return from Broady, so 10 minutes and Rublev is 3 love up. Yeah, last year, even if the opponent was different, but Rublev's season started not so well before the Australian Open. He played, I remember, in Adelaide, both the first and the second week, and lost to Kokinakis and Bautista Agut without winning any match. Um, then still went on to reach the Australian Open quarterfinal. Yeah, here we are watching Sinner in Melbourne. He trained with a guy who's very very young, even if it doesn't seem so from the pic, at least in my opinion. Um, but yeah, he's preparing. Let's see. Of course, everyone is interested in watching what he will do in Melbourne after finishing the year so strong, and overall having a whole great 2023 season. Yeah, Broady, I remember the match between Broady and Kyrgios. Um, it was, of course, on one of the main courts. I don't remember if even the Rod Laver Arena of the second court. Um,
And you come back and get a time violation. Talk us through that. What happened?
so 3 games to love. Broady on serve, serving to trying to move the score to win his first game of the match. And love 15. The conditions here, in my opinion, are not as quick as the other to us, are a bit slower than the other tournaments um, of the week, and I think that in this matchup, Rublev Broady, uh, the quicker the condition, the better for Broady, in my opinion. Um, can try to take away a little a bit the time from Rublev, who usually thrives in this kind of let's say mid conditions, where his shots still are effective, his accelerations, but still he has time to hit the forehand really well. He's also probably rushing a little bit in the rallies Brody so far. I mean, it's also the tactic he has to use. I don't think that he can stay there and hit 10, 15 shots in a single rally against Rublev, whose shots are really, really heavy. But so far, a bit of mistakes. Yeah, maybe also is going a bit too fast in my opinion. Probably especially during between one point and the other one, can try to take his time a little bit. Where can Nadal get to in 2024? Hadn't seen this this poll before. Top 5, top 20, top 50, outside of top 50. Yeah, probably if I'm usually always cautious in making prediction, so I would have clicked on top 10 if there was a top 10 option, but just because I don't know, probably I'm seeing him with a lighter schedule, and also because I don't want to bring myself, um, too far ahead. Also talking about how well he's going to do against the top ranked opposition, but still the signs are really encouraging. So I get why people are happy Very, very, excited about him because the first two matches have been really, really good. And that's a great point. And Broady ends it with a volley winner. Advantage, Broady. Yeah, I'm a point behind. I saw. um, yeah, so talking about Nadal, probably the most encouraging thing, regardless of the opposition, is that there haven't been ups and downs in terms of the level throughout his matches. Usually when you came back after a long break, you may express already a high level, but you may have a little bit of downs throughout the single match. Some games maybe you are a little bit off. Some games you be back expressing a high level of tennis, and this hasn't happened. So that's really, really encouraging. Just here, Broady, if he wants to win this game, he has to dig deep. Rublev cancelled his chance before. Yeah, when you face Rublev and you don't have all this experience against this um, let's call them top players. I think that the most difficult thing in terms of facing Rublev is that it forces you to play from the baseline at a rhythm that you are not really used to in terms of how quick he hits his baseline shots. He also stays really close to the baseline, always takes the ball early. I have to admit that he's also painting the line so far. Some shots that maybe could have been out, like this one on this point. Um, but yeah, advantage Rublev, a chance to go up a double break. Ace, ace from Roddy. Meanwhile, Casper Ruud has won 6-1, 6-4 against Manarino. And that's an encouraging start of the season from him. 3 comfortable wins against very, very solid opponents. Yeah, what about Rafa? We were just saying about him, and of course, I will repeat. And yeah, just a couple of matches. He still has to be, in my opinion, tested by a very, very top opponent. Like, for example, this week can be Dimitrov or Rune. But for what we have seen so far, it's a very good start. He is in form. He is confident. He's hitting his shots well. He's not having downs throughout his matches. So far we've seen it. We've seen what we needed to watch. Meanwhile, Broady won the first game of his matches, saved 3 break points. Oh well, I have to say that I really am ready to fight against this for these best women's matches of 2023. But I know you agree with me, because for me, hands down, the Australian Open final between Sabalenka and Rybakina for me was a great match, great quality, great storyline. And also the right balance between very high quality and also a hard fought battle. um, for me, there have been also other very good matches. For example, the French Open semi-final and final that Mukova played against Sabalenka Swiatek. But for me, that Australian Open final still stays here as the match I have enjoyed the most. So I'm going with that one. And the best men's match, that's difficult in my opinion. I have to, overall, I've seen here and also other, media have said the Wimbledon final. And I have to say that regardless of everything, I more or less agree, also because um, the stage is important in judging a match. So it was a Wimbledon final, and the story was great. In my opinion, the quality had a bit of downs, but it can happen. It's not best of three; it's best of five. Um, so more or less, I agree. But for me, the third set they played, Djokovic and Alcaraz in Cincinnati, was um, better quality than the Wimbledon final. Overall, I'm still going with the Wimbledon clash because of also the stage and everything. So I think that I agree with the choice you made as the best matches in your series of the best clashes of the 2023 season. Here, Broady suffered so much to win the game, and then Rublev just held to love. Not really encouraging so far, but still, of course, it's important now for him to try holding. I'm spotting his tattoo, Broady's tattoo. He has the 5 circles on his arm. Let's see that. Let's see if he's going to be able to qualify for the Olympics. Yeah, at least I'm spotting the 5 circles near his wristband. I think it means that. Then I don't know. Yeah, I did a joke on Twitter. I published a clip of Malen Helgo having a good rally, a good point, and I wrote, "Tennis is Helgo, Helgo is tennis." Fortunately, people are taking it in the right way. Yeah, meanwhile, two game points for Broady. A mistake with the forehand. Yeah, a bit risky at times. He's really going for it, but I don't blame him. Um, I think that for sure he doesn't want, and rightfully so, to get engaged in long rallies with Rublev. They can really be exhausting. Pavel Kotov, yeah, he has a great shot making ability, not great second serve. Um, so there is something he can do better while serving, in my opinion. But from the baseline, he has a great shot making ability. and as well as Rusuwari, I have to say. So I think that the next match is going to really be interesting for people who loves the rhythmic, high level baseline game. Should be interesting for this kind of tennis enjoyers. Another deuce, meanwhile, he was 40-15 up Broady. Rublev misses the volley. Mm, let's say not his best volley ever. Yeah, I apologize if I'm usually talking, taking Brody's point of view, but of course he's the underdog in this match. Um, and it's also interesting to focus also, in my opinion, on how he does and what he does to try to play with Andrey. Another good game for him. It was again at deuce, but a volley mistake from Rublev helped him, and then he used this chance to hold again. 4 games to 2. Sleeping Beauty. What will Nadal first real test be, Thompson or Dimitrov? Um, in my opinion, the real test should be Dimitrov, talking about top level opposition. Um, Also considering the level Dimitrov is playing at since last year, really. Um, but Thompson in the quarterfinals will still be, in my opinion, a good test because Thompson's level, in my opinion, is higher than the level his two previous opponents can show nowadays. So I think that both will be nice tests. Of course, both Nadal and Dimitrov has still one match to win if they want to meet each other in the next round, in the semifinals. Um, so yeah, my answer is basically like that. I think that Dimitrov will be a first real test, which should tell us if Nadal is really be back as an Australian Open contender already. But still, tomorrow's match against Thompson will be important to test his level against a player who also plays a different tennis brand, comes to the net quite often, has a big serve. So it will be interesting. And about Berrettini, should have been back this week in Brisbane, playing the qualifying draw. But had a little bit of a setback with a foot issue. Yeah, really a shame that he's always struggling with some kind of injuries. Let's see if he's being back healthy for the Australian Open. Um, for sure is going to be dangerous because he's another kind of player which usually comes back and doesn't really need a lot of matches uh, to get into his groove. So should be, let's say, a dark horse, even if injured for a lot of time. We've seen that, for example, at Wimbledon this year. 5-2. Rublev held again to love. So he's just flying in his service game so far. Of course, this is not, uh, of course, the kind of match which Broady is telling himself, I need 100% to win this. So I think that the most important thing is the takeaway from this match. The level he will play. I think that he is a little bit settling right now after a tough start. Yeah, of course, I'm aware of the head-to-head between Nadal and Dimitrov. Uh, let's say that prime team and of course Federer, especially on quick surfaces, have really been probably the only one-headed backhand players which really had the ability to trouble him. Um, even
Hello,
if
Mario. I am here
hi,
finally. Yes, I actually woke up at like 9 a.m., but then I needed a nap before this match.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, totally
it
fine.
wasn't it wasn't by design, but nature actually did beat me. Thankfully, I woke up more or less in time. But yeah, I actually do fear for Liam as well, just like John says in the chat. I don't really know how he does that. I don't really know how he wins this. And yeah, I haven't turned on the match so far, but I'm gonna do it just now.
Yeah, honestly, the last game he won, it's been the only comfortable one so far for him. He saved three double break points. Three chances
Uh
for
huh.
Rublev to go ahead a double break.
Oh.
I mean, he's doing, in my opinion, what he has to do, and which is not engaging in my opinion, in long rallies with Rublev, because Rublev can really, takes his breath away, in my opinion, understandably so. At the beginning of the match, he was having a lot of mistakes, honestly, in trying to closing earlier the points and staying aggressive. He was probably rushing too much. Now he has settled. Rublev has also slowed down a little bit. Um,
Where are you, by the way, in your stream? Because Rublev is just so incredibly frustrated. It's a
yeah,
little bit weird, even.
now I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm seeing that this that you mean. This break was not in my thoughts like 5 minutes ago, honestly. But here we are.
Yeah. So has he broken already on your screen, or?
No, he has broken now in my
Ah.
screen.
Okay. Okay. So we are like a little behind. I'll know how to manage that. But yeah, I mean, the first frame literally that I saw was Rublev just so angry at himself, and it was a bit
Yeah,
weird to me
after he
because it
got to
seems like he's in control. But well,
1540.
yeah, yeah. After he got 1540, yeah, that point.
Oh, that's the trainer for Broady. He
Mm-hmm.
let me try to understand. No, they're showing a replay.
So when were the breakpoints for a double break? Were they set points? No,
Three love.
that was earlier. That was earlier. Okay, yeah, three
Yeah, three
love.
love.
So I guess that might
Then
contribute
Rublev
to
went to
the.
deuce in the next return game, even without having break points. And then there's been these two fast games actually for Broady, which is now having some troubles with his. Uh, I don't know if foot or ankle. I think the ankle. Yeah. By the way, what Meanwhile, I wanted to ask you which players from, let's say, the high level tennis landscape so far have impressed you the most. I was thinking that Nadal's comeback has been good so far, very good. And I have to say that Casper Ruud is also playing at a good level, uh, comfortably beating three very solid opponents.
Yeah, these are both good answers. Honestly, Rafa was the first player that came to mind. Of course, against Kubler, I wasn't really expecting him to struggle, but at the same time, still, like he managed to fend him off so easily. So, which is a good sign, needless to say. Also, the fact that Umberry withdrew, so he
Mm,
has a pretty good shot at Thompson next. I would love to see Nadal Dimitrov in the semis and then Nadal Rune in the final. We'll see
yeah,
if we actually get there. Maybe Yuncheng Shang as well. Like just the
yeah,
fact that he has
right.
spent 6 hours on the court so far and he's holding up okay physically. Like, of course, I don't know yet how he's going to perform tomorrow. Maybe by this stage it actually gets to him. But yeah, I mean, he has to be in the conversation as well. Easily could have been Marin Cilic if he won that match against Struff at 6-3-5-2 because his performance in the comeback was really, really
Yeah.
good. Ruud is a solid answer as well. Like, he has just been very clean in this United Cup. And of course, Norway has needed that. We'll see if they manage to win the mixed doubles now.
Yeah, because
Um,
Helgo, she hasn't won any match, but probably was deserving to get at least one win for the way she's playing. Today was
yeah,
really her shot making was wow today.
Yeah, and you could easily say that well, she hasn't done anything for the Norway team then, which is kind of true then tomorrow today because this doesn't matter that she went so deep with Garcia. However, let's
Yes,
remember that their
exactly.
group stage was down to sets percentage, which was the same for all three teams, and then percentage of games won. So actually, every single game that Malin Helgo won was important.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fact that she got
absolutely.
a set against Donna Vekic, she doesn't get there. Norway is not in the semis. So actually, she's been a vital part as well. Yeah, against Arantxa Rus, maybe it was expected that she's not gonna go down like 6-love, 6-love. Against Donna Vekic, probably more of an achievement, and today as well, especially. I don't think she's gonna beat Iga Świątek if they make the semis, but who knows? If Casper Ruud and Ulrika Ikari get over the line, Helgo has definitely at least proven that she's not going to be just comfortably defeated by everyone. Of course, Ikari Ruud are not exactly favored in the mixed, but it's mixed doubles. Anything can happen. And as you said, Casper has been
Yeah,
playing
and it's
very well.
also a great thing also financially for these Norwegian players who are coming here alongside Casper.
So how does it work? So they get like a prize that they will share between each other at the team's
Yeah, they
discretion,
get
I guess.
prize. The higher ranked players get more, honestly, but Helgo has just earned more than the World 2023 ITF season she had.
Because it's yeah, so that's the participation fee. Of course, she's not gonna
Yeah,
get
there's
much
the
there.
participation
Well, but
fee.
it's still 10K dollar. No, actually $20K. And match wins. They actually the number two player doesn't earn anything. It's no, sorry, she's not the number two. Of course, she's the number one player because this is the new format. I'm sorry, I'm still asleep. Anyway, if she beat Garcia today, I think she would have gotten $132,000. So that's actually a big shame for her that she didn't. But if they win, that she's going to get. Well, I guess the team is going to get 13.650 anyway. So yeah, even for no, that's the quarterfinals. Sorry, no, Jesus. Again, I'm asleep. So she actually would have gotten
Yeah.
$69,500 if she beat Garcia. And if Norway wins, they're gonna get 8,000 per team. In the group stage, because they won one match, she did get her share of 5,000. So yeah,
Yeah, and then
basically looks
also
like she has earned. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then also
Sorry, I
of
mean,
course a great experience, playing
oh yeah,
against
absolutely.
girls like Vekic, Garcia in front of on a big stage. So of course it's uh, you
Yeah,
know
and we're talking
I
of a
like
player who
I like this
won't
kind
be
of
in Australia,
stories.
right? Yeah, we're talking
That's
of
why
a
I
player
really
who
I
won't
really got
be in
invested.
Australia. So So
Yeah,
this is
we're
really
back.
huge for her, given that she hasn't, she's not going to play Australian Open qualifiers. She's not in that sort of range. So basically, this is absolutely massive for her money wise.
After the medical timeout, we are back with a mistake. Yeah, it's about the women's side. I wanted to ask you a little bit. We've seen Swiatek playing really, really well so far. Sabalenka has also seems have started the year pretty well, even if the opposition maybe has not been the highest possible, but she's still thriving. Um, the comeback players, Osaka was pretty good, I would say. What are you expecting for the Australian Open?
Yeah, I think from like if we're talking about the comeback players, then Osaka and Raducanu, they were both just as good as we could hope from them. Like I don't think either can be disappointed with her performance despite not winning a match and despite both having a chance to win their second match as well. Definitely, they both had their chances. But yeah, I mean, if Swiatek wins Melbourne, so far it's kind of looking like she might. But at the same time, I remember how Australia played last year and how much it favored like, flat hitting and yeah, just power tennis. So I do wonder how she's gonna hold up against someone like Rybakina Sabalenka. Of course, Sabalenka, she's already since the beginning of her new win streak, she's already defeated her in Cancun. Very different conditions probably in Melbourne. So I would still want to see that. And Rybakina has been like a bit of a even a mental issue at this point for her, it seems. So I also want to see that match and wouldn't be very confident ahead of it. But I think especially if these rivals would fall to someone else at the Australian Open, Swiatek is definitely like the main favorite going into it right now. Well, I guess it might change depending on how the rest of the week goes. How she performs in the United Cup semis final, and how if Sabalenka maybe wins the title. If maybe
Do you
Rybakina
think?
wins the title. She was pretty excellent today as well. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that for now, she looks like the main favorite for Australia. And I think if she would get the title there, then I don't think she surrenders the number one ranking for the whole year.
Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Sabalenka losing 2K points. Sabalenka losing 2K points. Swiatek only defending 180. I think even if something would happen to her in Paris, if she had Melbourne on her ranking, even if something would happen to her in Paris, yeah, I just think she has like such a high level overall now. Like basically every single match she's able to bring it. Doesn't really have any duds. Well, seems like she's more actively working at her tactical approach as well.
Yeah,
Definitely looking quite scary. And yeah, I just feel like if she has Melbourne on her ranking, it's going to be very hard for anyone to catch up to her. Of course, if I'm talking about the title, which again, it's not perfect conditions for her, but it doesn't actually have to mean that she loses. Last year it was a different case. The form was, I guess, a little well. It just wasn't as sublime. Plus, you had Rybakina in the fourth round, who was playing just so ridiculous, and now Rybakina, of course, the earliest she can
yeah.
play her
She
is the
she she was not
semifinals.
that lucky with the draw. Talking that Rybakina was not clearly number 22, 23
Yeah,
like she was last year. So she shouldn't have, meet Rybakina until the semifinal if the ranking was working with the Wimbledon points. Let's say like that.
yeah. I think with the Wimbledon points, there was a moment when Rybakina would have been like number 3 or number 4 because no
Yes,
one had
exactly.
points.
So
No one had points at that stage, yeah, other than Świątek and Sabalenka, I guess. So yeah, it actually is true that she, well, at least until the quarters, but I think even until the semis, yeah, she wouldn't be playing her. And of course, this year that's going to be like it. So that really ups her chances. We kind of talk about this every WTA Slam, it seems. But basically, in the best of 3 format, I never really look that far ahead. Like, I don't, when I see 2 players in
yeah,
the same
sure.
half of the draw, I don't really look that much like into the future. So yeah, it's definitely going to be better for her now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see a few rounds early. That like the usual Świątek early rounds at the Slam, where the gap between her and her opponent is just pretty significant.
Mhm. Yeah, meanwhile, Broady has saved a set point with a smash. Not looking super sharp in the movement.
Do you also think that Liam Brody's brother looks absolutely scary, like scarily close to Liam Brody? Like I cannot look at the guy. I've seen him at a few events live as well, and literally it's so weird because Liam is playing and the brother is sitting there, and like when I look at him, it's what the hell? I mean, they're just the
Mhm.
same. But yeah, a couple a set point for Rublev has gone away already, but there's going to be another one. But I think you're very right with what you said earlier that like Liam knows that he cannot be like playing this like going blow for blow with Rublev, right? That he cannot generally like over a long
Yeah,
rally he's not going to be able to sustain that sort of weight of shot and the power hitting that Rublev has. So just has to figure some things out, has to go a little different every single time, has to bring in the
yeah,
variety. And to his credit, he's doing that okay. But we'll see how much the leg is bothering him. And obviously, it's still a matchup where he's like a little overwhelmed anyway. It's not a natural play for him, I guess, to perform like this. How is Liam looking? What was the injury? Something with his leg. Uh, Maybe the ankle around that area at least. I guess he's okay so far, but yeah.
yeah. Now a double fault, so there's a third set point. Yeah, but of course, talking about just this match, it's already very very difficult if it's not even 100% physically. Of course, things are getting uh, even more difficult than expected. Of course, I think that maybe is going to be okay in let's say next week, maybe.
Yeah, I
Meanwhile,
mean it's very
before,
important for him to play to be okay next week, that's for sure.
yes, exactly.
With the US Open qualies coming up. Liam is currently expected to be the 10th seed there. He is, on the other hand, 12th on the alternate list. So,
Yeah,
sorry. So obviously he's not gonna make it for Australia automatically. Actually, this is also a point where Dominic Thiem and Yosuke Watanuki start worrying, I guess, right? Because we were sort of like, well, they're the
yeah,
first and second alternates. They are surely gonna get in. But well, I mean, it's just 3 or 4 days left before the
yes,
qualifying draw
exactly.
will be done, and yeah, I mean, at this point, I would be quite scared if I were them, and I think both will be. Maybe Karatsev is their biggest hope, given that he injured himself, but he has about a week and a half to
Yeah,
recover,
exactly.
maybe
Then maybe
prepare.
some player who injured themselves now, they just maybe they also try to wait a little bit to see if the injury let them place,
Yeah,
and maybe they withdraw after the qualis draw is released.
yeah, but then it doesn't help them, right? Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
so
That's
it's
what
uh, it's
I.
it's rough, really. I mean, if you're Dominic Team now, you're kind of biting your fingernails and
Yeah, even
waiting if
because for
this
what we've seen
even
in
possible.
Brisbane, given what I saw in Brisbane, I'm not like okay. I'm sure it's going to make it. You know,
Yeah, no one is like that. Yeah, I think Grand Slam qualifying is just all players just consider it to be such a tough
yeah,
event
that's for
that
sure.
I
Also
don't think
because
anyone
you have
really
to win
treats it
three
like
matches
it.
back
Yeah.
to back to back. Uh,
Yeah, like
never,
three
never.
matches in 4 days. Yeah, and as you said, Domi didn't exactly look that great in Brisbane, other than the first set against Nadal until 5-6. So it's not a given at all. Watanuki, who is like the second player that I'm thinking of because he's second on the alternate list, and it also seemed like he might make it. He qualified actually for Australia last year, but he saved 2 match points against Kukushkin, and one of them was a
Yes.
missed smash by the Kazakhs. So yeah, I mean, no one is really treating Grand Slam qualies like this. Probably, like, unless you're, I don't know, Shapovalov of 2017 US Open, there are no big favorites in Grand Slam qualifying, pretty much. I remember talking about this to Norbert Gombos, who was like, quality is so tough. And then I'm like, but you went 9-0 this year. But well, he said that despite that, he still doesn't
Yeah.
feel confident
Yeah,
anytime
yeah. I
he is
remember the
there.
same also. I remember the same also in some women's qualies. For example, Noskova last year.
Moskova
We
and
were
Parks
sure.
last year, yeah,
Yeah, we were
yeah.
sure she was going to sure. I mean, after the Adelaide campaign, we were like, okay, she should make it, and but then. It's kind of a jungle, the Grand Slam qualis draw.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's probably the most unpredictable event on the
yeah,
calendar,
usually
really.
when you do that thing on Twitter, when you try to predict all the what's your usually guess rate?
Uh-huh. Well, actually, for the Australian Open last year, it was 2 out of 16, which I think is my lowest ever. One of our friends of the show, actually, and well, maybe even a member of the Talking Tennis team, we can already call him Carlos, the magician.
Carlos, yeah, yeah, yeah,
He got 0 last year at the Australian Open, and he knows his challenger stuff, you know. And I'm not using
yeah,
this to
yeah, yeah.
embarrass him. I'm just saying that's how tough it is. I
Yes,
think
exactly.
Jakub got 4 last year at the Australian Open, which was like a wild score because everyone else would get 2-1-0. It was just such a tough event to predict. I
Yeah,
think my
exactly.
best would have been like maybe 6, 7. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
usually used to get like 4, 6, but I feel like recently I've actually plateaued a little bit, and my scores have gotten worse.
No. Just wanted to ask you you know, to get how tough it
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
to predict how qualies
Yeah.
are going to.
Thankfully, it's just 3 matches, so at least in theory, you have a shot. But generally, if I get 4 out of 16, I'm satisfied. Like that. That's more
Mhm,
or less
yeah.
how an acceptable score looks. So yeah, it's definitely a nightmare. Of course, I still have a lot of fun doing it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's right. It's just how predictions work, you know.
Yeah, you put yourself out there for the people to see that how stupid and wrong you are, and then the people who didn't do their predictions criticize you and tell you,
Yes, exactly.
"Wow,
And then the
you only
people
got you
like
only got
trying to
two out
do
of
your
16,
prediction.
and you call yourself a challenger expert." I mean, no one has really said that ever, but there is a person who, like, every single time I do the predictions, he tweets after them, like counting my score, and when it's poor, he even said something like, "I don't know why you do that," or something like that. And I literally responded, I mean, to promote the event, to have fun on Twitter, to
Yeah,
sort of compare it
and
with my
also
mates.
it's literally called prediction. So it's not even like predicting the match you're about to watch, which is of course way easier because there's just the match. And
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
okay.
it's definitely if you like where to predict every single round, then there would be pressure for you to get a score, like a good
Yeah,
score.
it's
Like
like
if you
I
were to
was.
predict every single match in a vacuum, right? Like before the first round, you make your predictions. Before the second round, before the third one, then sure, like a pretty decent score would have to be there for it to be acceptable. But if it's like that sort of an event, yeah, I
I
don't think
was
this is
talking
really
with
something you can pull
um,
off mathematically. Yeah.
I was talking with Gil Gross a couple of weeks ago, and he was, I also saw on YouTube, and he was talking with me that he predicted all the big titles winners at the beginning of last year's season for the World 2023. And
Mm-hmm.
it's but I mean that is also quite a difficult thing because you have to go ahead for like 9-10 months in some case. And yeah,
Yeah.
more
And
or
how
less
did it go for him?
4 out of 14.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, I can understand that absolutely because how do you do it really? By the
Of
way,
course,
Liam Brody has
of
just
course, not
broken, and it
counting,
was
for
from
example, he had
40-15.
Alcaraz French Open and Wimbledon Djokovic. He had.
Yeah,
and that
I
of
mean
course
that's what I
doesn't
would
count,
that's what I would have
right?
gone for too, probably. So I can get that for sure. Cincinnati, I guess he probably would have gotten right. That's at least I would have gone Djokovic for sure. Indian Wells, he
Uh,
probably got right. Alcaraz was probably the main choice there
Alcaraz
always.
was one of those who got right. Yeah, you're right. Then I'm sure he got right Australian Open,
Yeah,
and then I don't know.
that,
I don't remember
that's
honestly.
another
Maybe
that's another never in doubt. Maybe Madrid as well, right? Because it's always gonna be Alcaraz from now on, it seems, just like in Indian Wells. But anyway, yeah, Liam Broady breaking from 40-15. There was a pretty fabulous forehand down the line, but then on the break point, Rublev mishits one. And well, I don't think it's really time to be worried for Rublev yet. It's one break and in a match that's not particularly serve based, but yeah,
that's
I
right,
mean,
but for sure it's let's say that it's not entertaining when you were literally flying in the first part of the match. First games it was it was totally one-sided. Broady had to save 3 break points to avoid being love 4 down with a double break, and then you are engaged in a fight, because that's basically how it is right now. 6-4 and the breakdown in the second set. So yeah, still probably a situation he was not wanting to be in, let's say 20-25 minutes ago. Deuce, Rublev trying to
yeah. And speaking of
be back to
Sabalenka,
track.
who you said was doing very well, she did win the match with at the loss of just one game. So it's actually the same
Yeah,
scoreline as Rybakina. I guess similarly ranked opponents as well. Zhu and
yeah.
Mertens are probably close to each other right now. Although Zhu, of course, is defending a ton of points in the next few weeks. Yeah, and the successfully net rushing Andrey Rublev on the breakpoint, basically. As we said, he cannot
Yeah,
really
let's
go
say
blow
that
for blow with him. So why
as for
not?
Sabalenka, the main improvement she showed in 2023 comparing to 2022 is that she's thriving more easily in first rounds against lower ranked opponents. Last year really happened very very few times that she lost matches against, I don't know, players outside even the top 15, 20, just a couple of tournaments.
No, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, like the one of the main things about her last year for sure was that she was just so consistent in the early rounds. I know it's a bit of a like quirky stat that she hasn't won a title since May, since Madrid, but at the same time she was still constantly deep in all events she played almost, and obviously the free slams as well. The after well that happened after that May title.
Yeah, sure. In fact, if we are calculating, the save points after the Australian Open, she still starts as the number two. If we so that's also a sign that her ranking is not really, let's say, dependent on on that major title. Here, Broady has a chance to go to love up, and yeah, let's say that this match also He's becoming something tactically Rublev doesn't like to do a little bit. Um,
What is
you know,
that?
Broady.
What is that he doesn't like?
You know, Brody is trying to, as I was saying before, is trying to be more aggressive, to varying a little bit more, coming to the net more often. Um, you know, Rublev is finding himself at times a little bit out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of on cue, Liam clinches the game with a certain volley. There was one of the points earlier in the game was also great with him, finally sort of pulling the trigger in the backhand down the line and also finishing it at the net with real ease. So yeah, he's got Rublev, I guess, where he wants him right now. A little agitated,
Yeah,
definitely a little confused with the stuff that Liam is throwing at him. We'll see how long this lasts and if he can actually take a set out of it. Jane, thinking about the RBA love for January, February, which is of course very well established, yes, but I wasn't expecting it this year, maybe. Given the sort of campaign that he had in 2023, you expect the physical decline to start hitting him a little bit more. But well, again, he's speaking in January. It seems he's gonna play Sebastian Ofner as well, Pavel Kotov in the and Emil Rusevori in
yeah,
his half of the draw. Like really, there's no reason not to make the final if you're RBA. Of course, it's not the given that he will, but like he's gonna treat himself as the favorite to make the final. Is basically what I'm trying to say. The winner of this match will actually have a very exciting matchup ahead as well against Arthur Fields, right? Oh, and Tiafoe Shang actually in the quarters. I didn't even realize, but they played
yeah. This tournament is
against each
starting
other
in.
quite a lot, right? Last year, twice or three times, maybe even twice. I think. Yeah. Of course, it wasn't too competitive on either occasion, but well.
And an ace. So Rublev holds to love, as he did many times in this match, but still got broken twice. One in this second set.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it is like this for you, but I'm still getting used to seeing players on this Hong Kong court. I mean ATP players, because I've just gotten so used to the WT event here, like Pavlyuchenkova going deep on a few occasions, and then
Yeah.
I turned on the stream for Hong Kong this week. I don't know what was the
Yeah,
first match I
sometimes
watched.
first week of
Right.
the year, I sometimes I still think about Chennai when
Yeah,
there was that tournament, and I remember Ferrer Wawrinka doing very well there. Usually,
yeah, Wawrinka won it
I
a few times for sure. Ferrer, I
have
think
this.
mostly played Doha, didn't he? But Chennai, I don't know if
Yeah,
Ferrer
also there
actually
was a
played.
time. Yeah,
I think Ferrer usually played Doha. He definitely won it in like
yeah,
15
Doha for first
when
week.
Djokovic lost to Karlovic. Yeah,
Used to be a stock tournament. I remember talking about
yeah,
Batista Agut in January, him beating Djokovic in 2019 in Doha.
yeah. It was surprisingly stacked given the distance between that and the Australian Open, right? But I guess that's what the Qatari money will do to
Yeah,
players.
money, and also the fact that, in my opinion, is also geographically okay for the players, because most of them likes to stay in, uh, in those countries during the off season. A lot of players are,
Okay, yeah,
for example, in Dubai
that's true.
during the off season. So it can also be a good way to start a season before heading to Australia.
No, that's actually true. Yeah, you could easily combine it with your
Yeah,
off-season
now
routine.
things have changed, but the tournament is still not as stacked as before, but still has usually a good players field.
And now it's going to be bigger every year on the WTA side as well. So
Yeah.
Before, of course, it was sort of interchanging with Dubai in terms of who gets 500, who gets 1,000 every single year, whereas now it's just going to be 1,000. Both are going to be 1,000, actually. Yeah, again, super clutch, great volley from Broady. He's showing a lot of good technique. He's actually showing the sort of play that could make him hold up on the main tour in the long run. Like he's showing this sort of play that you would like to see from him every day. And usually he's just not able to pull that off. But now that he sort of is forced to, now that he has, the idea in his mind that he needs to do it against Rublev because otherwise he will be outmatched, he is actually playing, some of his best stuff despite the leg issue as well.
Yeah. Is it cold where you are right now these days?
Yeah, actually, yesterday it started snowing, so it's like completely white outside my window. It wasn't the
Okay.
case even like 2 days ago, but yeah, overnight
Okay. I have
we've gotten a ton of
right
snow.
now I have 20 degrees.
This is incredible. Yeah.
No, it's high even for being here, honestly. Usually,
Yeah.
our January medium high is 13 degrees.
Okay.
You know, so
Yeah,
20
20.
is
I could
high,
imagine that it's a lot, but yeah, it's still so
but still, it's
weird
not
to think about
impossible to
this.
have here. Let's say like this.
Yeah. I mean, you would find obviously we could invite an Australian right now, and he would say we have 35 degrees. But
Yes, exactly.
sometimes it's just wild to think about this because, of course, we're both living in Europe. Theoretically, the
Yeah.
climate
You're
should,
right.
should be like more or less similar. Of course, we are completely different climates. You in the sort of Mediterranean, and me in the like the moderate, I think it's called, um, but yeah, I think even cold, moderate cold, or whatever the technical name for it is. But yeah, still very weird for me to look outside my window, see all the snow and I'm assuming minus temperature, and think that you have 20 degrees.
Yeah.
I might have 20 in Fahrenheit, honestly.
Yeah, Brody held again. So
Yeah, it's -2 in Celsius is actually 28 in Fahrenheit. So yeah, we more or less have the same if you take Celsius and I take Fahrenheit. How much time will it end, Banu? Who knows? I mean, tennis matches don't really have a clock, so one player needs to get 2 sets. Currently, Andrey Rublev has 1 set. Liam Broady is leading in the second, though. A set is won when a player wins 6 games. If there is a third set, they're also going to play it if they are tied at 1-1. So could be anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours even.
what part of Italy? I am in southern Italy, southeast actually. I'm on the east coast. I live near the city of Bari in Puglia. So yeah, it's not a cold place at all, but it's a warm day even for be here in Puglia and in January. So
Have you ever seen snow, Mario?
yes.
Okay.
I've seen snow also, going somewhere else, of course. I've been to the mountains, but here in my city, last time it was 2017. 2017 last time, and it has happened 3 times in my life that it was snowing here in
Yeah.
my city.
I remember as a kid it was very tough for me to comprehend. I think it was definitely an American TV show. Maybe it was Monk, where one of the like kid characters was like just very disappointed that she has never seen snow in her entire life. And I remember as a kid it was like, what? She's never seen snow? But there's actually of course a lot of climates where you're never gonna get snow really. So but still, like growing up in Poland, having snow every year, going I don't know, for a sleigh ride or whatever,
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
was building snowmen. It was just so hard for me to comprehend. Right now,
Well,
of
still,
course,
actually, the
I
snow
get it.
is still really, really close to me because,
Hmm.
Italy has mountains and the sea really, really close. So from here, 2.5 hours in the car, and I'm,
Hmm.
at 1.4 thousand meters with the snow. So
No, right.
it's not that difficult, for us to go somewhere and see the snow, even if it's not snowing here where we live. So
Yeah, I think that show that I mentioned was in California, so they probably had a tougher
yeah,
time
it's
experiencing it. Not that it's an experience of any monumental quality, but anyway. Liam Broady, of course, serving at 3-2, and also starts the next game well. So I guess yes, Andrey, this is the point where you can actually start being frustrated with yourself. This is the
yeah,
point where
sure,
I understand your anger.
for sure, because it's not anymore, let's say, an early break.
Yeah, it's
um,
not, he's not in control anymore.
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
Liam is winning the games like this, especially.
Yeah, but because of course, Brody is still trying to do what he needs to, as he's doing, honestly, since the beginning of the match. But now he's more, he's settled. He's calmer in even in trying to go for it. He's doing less mistakes, and uh, Rublev needs to do something more than what he was doing in the first set.
Yeah, we cannot really tell you, Banu, who will win the match because that's just not how it works. I mean, if we knew, you wouldn't be watching it. Of course, Rublev was the massive favorite pre-match, but if Liam can get it to one set all, maybe get into his head a little bit more, even,
Yeah, even because
then
Rublev is not
it's
known
open.
for being, the biggest mental giant in in
He's kind of
tennis.
weird because
So,
he doesn't really like fold under pressure, but he just acts
yeah, yeah,
so
that's
tense
right.
that you sort of feel like he should, because yeah, I mean, he's just so nervous all the time. But yeah, he actually doesn't really show it, like, I guess, in his game for the most part. Of course, last year he had some extremely clutch matches, especially in Monte Carlo when
Yeah,
he
yeah, no,
won
that's
his
right.
biggest title.
Also, after even after he hurts himself in anger, still I think that at the next point he can do something something good. It depends. But usually when he gets frustrated, he can let himself be taken from uh, the bad moment of the match. I don't know. At least for some stretches. Is Sinner difficult to understand? No, no. It's he's not difficult to understand. Yeah, he's. I know that his mother tongue, the language that was taught in his family, has always been the German language, as many families actually in that part of, near the Austrian borders. But no, no, he's not difficult to understand. Yeah, Rublev starting, going again easy on serve, even if right now it doesn't only depend, of course, by how he does on serve. That's a good return. Rublev has found himself out of position. Tried with some.
Yeah, I got quiet for a moment as I was looking up the score of Kamil Majszak's match, second round in the ITF
Mm,
today. Honestly, at this stage, I won a title. I want a title. I know it's a little, tough to expect a title in the in the first
yeah, yeah,
event
yeah,
back, but the field isn't that impressive. Like I actually think today's rival might be his toughest. I haven't seen him play, but Oliver Tarvet has actually won I think two of six ITF events that he's played so far. One of them last week in Monastir, beating like Omni Kumar. I think he's also
yeah,
defeated who else it was. Definitely a couple of like 500 top 500 ranked players. Omni Kumar definitely being one of them, and someone else as well. So yeah, I think that today might actually be the toughest match. So far, it's just 3-2 on serve, but I really like sort of around the time when he won three matches in a row, and I saw what the main draw field was like. I was definitely, of the opinion that, yeah, I mean, this is a title you could win. Like even in the first match of back, even in the first event back, it's not quite like when Klijan returned and he played Snitari in the first round in that
yeah.
ITF. Like that, it's not that sort of quality of the field. No.
Yeah, by the way, when there's an event which lasts more than 1 week, like 10 days, like it is United Cup, I start
Uh-huh.
losing the, you know, like, oh my God, it's only Thursday. I'm like that today. I don't know why. I'm thinking like, okay, it should be, I don't know, Saturday. And then, no, I mean, it's not even quarterfinals in these 250 events. We are in tennis used to have that Monday, Sunday
Yeah, yeah.
calendar when they,
Especially if you don't work in anything else, it's just sometimes so hard to understand sort of which day of the week which day of the week it even is. So very often my ability to tell which day of the week is currently happening is basically based on tennis. If it's
yeah, you're
quarterfinal
right.
day, yes, that means it's Friday. If it's semifinal day, it's Saturday. But yeah,
You're
not
right.
every event works like this. Even this week, we have, for example, three challengers that are going to finish on Saturday. So Nontaburi, Canberra, and Numea already had their
Yeah.
quarterfinals today. So yeah, sometimes it can mislead you. Whereas Oeirash will finish on Sunday. On the main tour, I think everything will finish on Sunday.
Yeah, the main tour
Yeah,
will finish on Saturday the next week because of
yeah,
it's both things due to the Australian Open, I think.
yeah, because Australia will
First
start on
because these
Sunday now.
players needs to go, to play the Australian Open qualifiers, and
Yeah, but Australia will also start on Sunday now, right?
yeah,
So
this year,
the main
yes,
draw.
this year, yes.
Just like the French. So yeah, that's why it has to finish on Saturday. But I think it used to finish on Saturday anyway. These events just
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the
yeah. Even last year, they used to
yeah.
finish
I
on.
I, I think even without the Sunday start, they usually
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
on
yeah.
Saturday just to give the players time to rest. Of course, the slams are a little like the tournaments can't really manage their schedule in a way that would suit the players. So like if you are in the final during the previous week, the top half of the draw or the bottom half of the draw will still play first. Like no one is gonna
Yes,
put you on the second day because that would be so
yes,
unfair to your opponent if he made it through. Because then he would have to play another best of five set match just
yes,
the day
exactly.
after, for example. So yeah,
This year, the only
definitely
thing
there's
you
like
can,
no leeway.
the only thing you can have is, playing on Monday and not on Sunday, just because the 3 days
Yes,
round one. But
that
you would
that
have
they can
played on
actually do.
Monday
Yes.
even last year. You would have played on Monday, so it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, that they can do actually. Yeah, that gives them a little bit more space to just navigate it and give the players who were in the finals on Saturday a little bit more time if that's needed. And that's actually what they'll probably do. Like if someone is in the final, then they're not going to be playing on Sunday, I'm assuming, unless actually the schedule will be released even earlier, then we will know who is playing on Sunday. Oh my goodness, that's another huge reaction from Andrey Rublev, and it's not a positive one, let me tell you.
Yeah,
This is like extreme even for him, honestly. I
I
know
think
after the
I think I'm about to watch it.
yeah, you're probably about to watch it. I mean, yeah, I understand that he was 0 love 30 down, but I know a lot of people were talking about this after the ATP finals, where he was hitting the racket against his knee, right? And like how this can be dangerous. No, nothing
Oh yeah,
like
it
this
was ATP
here, but
finals.
yeah, like today as well, it's like enough to give me a bit of a sour taste, honestly, when watching it. It just makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, honestly, yes, you're right. Uh, at least when he hits himself. I mean, you know, you can break the racket, okay, but when you hit yourself, for me, it's weird
Yeah.
to you know to say anything. It's
Yeah, like even breaking a racket, by now we're just so used to that, and we're sort of just like everyone does it. It's kind of safe, right, for the
yeah.
players
Even if
even.
maybe I would be a little bit worried if he did this on this situation. You know, it's not. Mm, I mean,
No,
I don't
we'll
think
see.
that it's
Maybe he does it after this game.
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I like when he's like going around and
I
kicking the
get for me
backboard or
it's a bit
something.
strange because I get you know players being nervous, of course, but for an established player like Rublev shouldn't be like even if you want to win, of course, 100% every match, every tournament you enter. uh, I don't know, it's still a bit weird in this situation to see him this nervous. I mean, okay, you are in trouble right now, but uh, everything
Yeah,
can still go your way. It's a second round match of a 250 event. Um,
yeah. Always the question is if it's like if it's actually influencing his game, if it's stress that is motivating him, or if it's stress that is actually holding him back. I think, of course, it's hard to tell that we're not in the head of the player in question. But I think this previous game, for example, like the amount of pressure that he was also adding to himself, that's probably not something that helped.
yeah, that's right. That's what I think it's more suitable to the situation. Talking about pressure, which he puts himself. Uh, Maybe sometimes it's too much, you know. At times we see him doing this kind of things even when he's not, let's say, trailing. um I don't know.
Yeah, I remember like as a well, maybe not as a kid, but a few years ago, my father sort of not yelling at me after a table tennis match, but like saying that if you weren't talking to each other to yourself so much, you probably would have beat him or something like that. But I knew that it was just like I played my best. I knew what I wanted to do tactically. I executed it. The opponent was just better. But definitely there could be an occasion as well where that sort of behavior leads to your game being worse. And I guess if you're as a player, you probably know it, whether this is actually influencing you or not, or if you're just sort of keeping yourself in check
Yeah, for
and
sure it
actually
should be
it's
more
helping you out.
than ourselves.
Yeah.
uh
Looks like he will get this game as well, so he should probably get Liam in this position where he'll be trying to serve out the second set. I think John probably went to sleep, but he would be very proud right now of what the friend of the show is doing, I think. Especially given that we were both, at least I don't know if Mario, you as well, but I think me and John were both expecting a total beatdown.
uh Honestly, yeah, I was not expecting this kind of match. Yeah, and especially after the you were not there, but
Mm-hmm.
especially the first games, you had that kind of feeling.
Yeah, bagel territory when Rublev had a few breakpoints, I guess. Of course, eventually it didn't end up working like this. Hello, Gene. Hello. Let's see if the
So
friend of
game
the show can
4.
actually clinch the set now. Yeah. as someone was talking about it last earlier in the chat, I think. But last year we had this whole series of Liam Broady in Australia, which actually was just with his
Yes.
coach, David Samuel, but that was also pretty interesting. Liam, of course, ended up losing in the Australian Open qualifying, so the series didn't last as long as it could. I do think he got an extremely tough draw. Was it like Struff maybe or something like that, or no, Shevchenko? That was the section I think with Struff and Shevchenko. Can't remember which one of them he lost to. I think it might have been Struff. So needless to say, that draw was so rough for him. I didn't expect Nadal to stomp Kubler so flat, says Jane. Maybe not 6-1, 6-2, but I actually I write these like little betting previews for a Polish website every day, and actually sort of at the end need to like well, it's mostly an analysis of the match, but I also have to like recommend one bet, and mine was Nadal to win 2-0. So I guess I was expecting it, but not
Yeah,
probably
me
not
too.
6-1, 6. I just didn't see how Kubler heads him. It would be a different story if Karatsev got through. But yeah, Kubler, I just didn't really know how he beats him. But it's still a fun story that they played, because I don't know if you guys remember that, but Jason Kubler was once hailed as the right-handed Rafa, which I don't really know why people did that. Honestly, I guess a strong forehand, but is it really a similar stroke in terms of how they use it? Probably not. I think there was also a comparison, because I think in the ITF Junior Davis Cup, Rafa and Kubler like are the only players who won every single singles and doubles match or something like that.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, there was something like this. So like basically they hold a record together at the ITF junior level. And then I guess the forehand made people do it. But yeah, the right-handed Rafa moniker never really made too much sense to me. But it's still fun that the right-handed Rafa met the left-handed one.
Well, love 30, a double fault, and then the backhand into the net from Liam Broady. So that's again a love 30 situation. Good serve. There is a challenge, but I think it's it's clearly out.
Yeah. So many matches this week where players had match points and ended up losing. Yes, indeed. And of course, Yunchek Shang winning a couple of matches with
Yeah,
saving match points, and in the quarterfinals now. But yeah, a lot more examples for sure. The 9
yeah.
of Struff
Of
and
course,
Cilic for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, that's second on the all-time sort of leaderboard of this stat, which actually is only done by the ATP since 2015. But well, at least in the past 8 years, then. That's the second highest that a player has saved in an ATP Tour match. And yeah, this game is not looking too great for Liam. Obviously, the double
yeah,
fault wasn't helpful, but also the backhand down the line he tried to go for just lost a little bit of that control
yeah. It's
over
been four
the
mistakes.
shot. And
The
yeah,
double fault and then three mistakes. For sure, a couple of them as unforced errors.
yep.
Let's say that this is the most comfortable situation possible for Rublev, because he didn't even have to do anything really special. And we are back on serve. It's a double fault from him.
Yeah, unfortunately, it never really felt like Liam has to win this game at 5-4, like even before it started, right? I mean, he's just not that sort of player, I guess, who dominates
Yeah,
most of his service games. But yeah, of course,
yeah.
that was
Also,
a
let's say
harsh
that I
example.
will not remember this match forever in my life. The quality has
Uh,
not been the highest possible so far.
yeah, I mean, it's probably Broady who's like been more impressive in patches. Once he actually puts
Yeah,
a lot of pressure on Rublev, and that has some nice volley finishes. Rublev is just bang on average, and yeah, got gifted a game a second ago. Probably will not be a match that I will remember for the rest of my life. However, it's still more competitive than I thought. And maybe we will actually, because Liam Broady will save 15 match
Oh
points
yeah,
and
yeah,
win
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Why not?
I have a few ideas why not, but let's say that's still possible. So
Yeah, let's see that if Rublev comes back in this game, 15-30. And big serve and forehand. So
Garcia almost losing was a shock to me. Absolutely. Yeah, Garcia is a strange one, but like that's her whole career. Outside of that one finish in the top 10, she never really had any like top
yeah,
20 runs at the end. She was always around more like 50, 40, which really tells you, about the consistency of hers. So like if a player of her stature is gonna struggle against someone like Manin Helgo, she is one of the most likely answers,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I have
especially
to
as
say
she
that
just blasts
today
every
she
return.
today she didn't play. I can't really say that she played bad. Let's say that she hasn't capitalized some chances in the second set. In the third, I would say that Helga was was super super confident. That kind of day in which your confidence in he's off the charts and you are able to do a lot of great things. Overall, it's been a good
Yeah.
match to watch.
Yeah, one thing that I guess you could say is that, of course, with the returning strategy of Garcia, which has been talked about many times,
Yeah.
but like if she had a
Mm,
more reliable approach, then probably she punishes
yeah.
the Helgo serve a little bit more. Whereas with her basically going at it every single time against whatever serve is going to be flying at her, it might be a little tough for her to sort of secure the advantage
And
against if the
here,
rhythm isn't there.
Brody will probably have, I don't want to say some regrets, but there was a slight chance in these breakpoints.
Yeah.
Now he's challenging this one, but I guess it's, uh, yeah, as the umpire suggests, in fact.
We've seen a lot of double faults, I feel like, by now. And in fact, I'm going to spoil it to you. I'm sorry that one more is coming. I'm only going to spoil it to you because, it's actually just 4 double faults, but I guess they've been on in recent games. Because I'm already like sort of, come on, just give me a point. Don't
Yeah.
hit another DF. Brody featured briefly on Netflix. I wonder if he'll be on the new series. It would be a little weird for him to be on the new series, right? Because they're like going for players like, I don't know, Sakari, Fritz, right? So like for a very specific demographic. But of course, Liam would definitely make the cut with like his personality. I just don't know if casual fans would be interested to hear about him, even if he's actually really liked by a lot of the hardcore tennis fandom. Was pair tanking, do you think?
Yeah, I'm
I didn't watch it,
uh,
that was already later in the day, but
as I got,
it,
and
it,
I don't know if it's their own strategy. They Netflix
uh-huh.
are going for these players who are like knocking on the door. Let's say top
Yeah,
ranking, but not still that top, trying to overcome the odds. Um,
precisely. Yeah.
they're
So
having
so
this
so
kind of
Liam
storyline.
is a different case for sure. But like purely on like social media presence, of course, he's one of the most popular players. So maybe it is possible. He definitely like would be a good choice in terms of how much he can give you just in the interviews or whatever they would do there.
Brody was only changed because he was playing Kyrgios. Well,
Yeah, he was like
yeah,
briefly there,
probably.
but Was pair tanking, do you think? I didn't reply to this. That basically started more or less around this match, so I didn't get a chance to see it. I don't think like pair losing to Kazo to 6-1-6 necessarily has to mean that he was tanking, but given that he played for 58 minutes, I mean it's pretty clear that he was either heavily outplayed or maybe heavily outplayed, and then that's at some point just didn't give a care anymore, which is pretty common still for him. Anytime you want to say Benoit Paire is doing so well in terms of like
Yeah, even
getting
if
himself to a
let's say
point where
that
he's just
watching the
very
point to
motivated,
point,
driven, and actually shows a lot of passion for tennis, then he has a match like
yeah,
this. Like it just happens every time.
given
But
the
yeah,
point by
Artur
point.
Kazo, of course, Australian Open wildcard soon. So, what were you gonna say?
No, no, I was saying that about Barrett, given the point by point thing, mm,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. I haven't watched the match, but for example, the final set, he, seemed like he was winning some points here and there, at least, you know.
Yeah, here and there, one game
Here
really
and
maybe, which was competitive, I guess. And well, yeah, definitely not a great showing from him, but I don't mind. As Keen probably knows, I had Artur Cazaux as my pick to win Numea, so I'm still alive there. Although
yeah,
he
seemed like
almost lost to
seemed like
Patrick
he had
Casey.
at least for what I was watching on social media, he seemed like he put a lot of work in the off season. He trained with Arthur Field sometimes. They did a practice match together. Um yeah, he's one of these players who interest me.
Yeah, I wish he has a better 2024 than 2023.
Hmm.
Oh, and by the way, I just realized that after the matches, Thomas Barrios Vera has secured his top 100 debut,
Yeah,
which he was super close to last year. He actually lost a match in the last event of the season. He actually lost a match for it against Gilbert Claire Jr. But here this week, without even playing, because he was at the United Cup and only played the mixed, where there's no points, he still manages to do it just because some other players drop points.
we will probably have a tiebreak here, 40-15. Probably 40-30. Yes, still with an ace, so a tiebreak will decide this second set. Yeah, now let's see if Rublev will be able to play a nice tiebreak, which starts bad because of a second serve. Broady just hit a winner on return. And to love, would be bad for Rublev to lose this tiebreak after coming back from a bad breakdown. And that's a good winner with a cross-court backhand. So we are back on serve in the tiebreak. Yeah, this time the second serve is a little bit heavier, and Broady misses the return. I mean, not really that much of a second serve, but still better than the previous one. And when Rublev can hit a forehand like that, and then everything becomes easier for him. 3-2.
Yeah, I'll get back to the match in a second. Just
Yeah,
realized
don't worry.
something and writing up a tweet pretty quickly, but I will be there in a second. Hopefully the match will be still going because of course we are pretty close.
And yeah, that's unusual forehand mistake. So 3-all. And 4-3. So this tiebreak is getting quite tight. Rublev still needs now to hold these two service points. Well played here in this rally. Usually Rublev is very good when he can accelerate with the backhand and then finish off the point with his forehand. Backhand down the line, one of the shots that have become better throughout last season, for sure. And now 5-4. He is potentially 2 points away from winning the match. Even if Broady now serving twice. And 5-all. So it will either be match point for Rublev or set point for Broady.
Yes, and I'm finally back.
And set point. Yeah, France won the first set, but saved 3 straight set points against Norway. So France is getting closer. Set point. Let's see.
Yeah, and I guess the 5-4 points, Rublev just didn't get the return in on either, right?
Yeah. And the second, no, it's again first serve, I guess. No, it's second serve, but yeah, long rallies. It's definitely more difficult than to Broady. If Rublev doesn't commit mistakes, then Broady usually finds himself in a defensive position. So 6-all this set is really tight in the end. In the end, for sure, Broady is going to leave the court quite satisfied, maybe with how this match is going. Still having some chances, you want to capitalize them.
Yeah, now he actually gets a great point,
Yeah,
finally pretty aggressive.
set
Um,
point on his own serve.
on his own serve, yes. So now, if he loses the second set, he won't actually get off the court pleased with himself, at least not at first,
Yeah.
because the opportunity is there for Liam.
At least some hours needs to pass.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's true in a lot of cases, that after with over time you're gonna find yourself accepting what happened, and you're like, well, I played well, but yeah, not at first, definitely not.
Yeah, 7-all. Rublev saves this second set point. The net court uh, should have favored Rublev maybe, but the forehand was not really, uh, was not a definitive shot, and Broady went to pass him, and so there is a third set point.
Yeah, it's a great pass from Liam. He wins the point. He has the crowd cheering for him.
Mm-mm. And Rublev here has not come to the net. Could have done it maybe. Still, he wins the point with his heavy forehand. After the first forehand, after the serve, could have maybe come forward. But yeah, it's pressure point. It's not the thing you would like the most to do. He will repeat the serve for the third time.
Yeah, I can already tell you it's going to be a pretty long rally.
Oh,
I still haven't seen the end of it, so
yeah, a lot of backends, especially from Rublev. Broady is trying to not give him a lot of forehands. And then he needs to slice. And the slice gets him to the net. And match point. First match point. Oh, and it's long, so it's over. Rublev wins 6-4, 7-6. He's through the quarterfinals in Hong Kong. Yeah, definitely been in the end quite a close affair. Let's say close because Broady has had 3 set points, but Rublev series first win of the 2024 season. It's a straight sets one in the end. Not the best possible performance, but it's still not easy to play your first match of the year against a player who has already played and won in the tournament. So I guess there's not a lot to take away, in my opinion, especially from Rublev. I mean, um, we will see more, of course, in as the tournament progresses. For example, tomorrow's match can be interesting. Rublev against Fields.
Yeah, I mean, Rublev was just honestly very mediocre, and the anger, frustration he had at some points of the match, that also wasn't great to see. But in the end, he did, find his best stuff, I guess, when needed. Although that 5-4 game was definitely like just handed to him by Liam, and
Yeah,
that's probably what he should be looking at mostly in terms of like analyzing this match, not the set point that he had in the tiebreak, despite it being on his own serve, but that 5-4 game just being the worst that he played in the entire match. So not a perfect start to the year for Rublev, but like he will be fine anyway. Like he's a player who just won't really go below a certain
yeah,
level,
yeah,
and
yeah,
even today he demonstrated that it's very hard to beat him because you kind of have to be on top of your game to pull it
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah. That's right.
Liam kind of was for large chunks of it. Definitely still fared pretty well, but what can you do? I mean, that 5-4 game really couldn't go any worse for him.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that tomorrow we will have a clearer picture also um, about both Rublev and Fields. For sure, it's going to be an interesting one to follow.
Yeah, Rublev Fields is definitely one of the highlights today. Maybe Tiafo Shang as well if it's finally
Yeah,
competitive, unlike their previous meetings. But Rublev Fields seems like the one that everyone will be watching in Hong Kong.
yeah. So I guess it can be it. Um, yeah, it's been fine to be here for the first time this year, commenting this match. Thanks to you, Damien, and to all the people who have spent this
Thanks to
time
me
with
being
us.
late, you had a chance to even commentate some more.
Yes, exactly. No kidding. Was totally fine. For us European, the Australian swing is not easy at all.
Yeah, I have
Um,
no clue what my sleep schedule is anymore. Like I literally
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just every day, because John usually asks me, "Is there a match that you want to commentate on in the next 24
yeah.
hours?" And since
I just
since uh
No, yeah, I just have an issue that I have an exam university on Monday, so I'm just trying to sleep at night, watch tennis and in the morning, regardless of which matches they are, during the night, during the morning, and then study in the afternoon and in the evening. So to try to
Yeah.
have a healthier schedule.
Yeah. Basically my idea every single day is just that I tell John, well, which match would you want to do? Because I have no idea when
Yeah,
I'm gonna sleep. So I always said I can't commit fully because, well, if a match is at 4 a.m., I don't know what's gonna happen. And it's not really a
yeah,
matter
that's
of
right.
just, I'm gonna stay awake, because at some point your body just sometimes gives up with these Australian time zones. But anyway, yeah. Since his comeback, are you surprised Kicker has never got his ranking back to where it was? Top 100, no. But when he had that amazing return to the tour, dominating the ITFs, even on the challengers at first, then I definitely thought he was going to be like a more consistent presence in Grand Slam qualies again. But top 100, I think that was a little much for him, maybe. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Mario, as well. Liam Broady definitely delivered today. We might have something to say about his 5-4 game in the second set. We might have something to say about the tiebreak, a few points as well. But still, he fared pretty okay against a great
Yeah,
opponent. Yeah, the first 3 matches of the year, he got a dream draw to the second round in Hong Kong. I think a lot of players would have capitalized on it, but to his credit, he did it in very comfortable fashion. So really couldn't have asked for a better start to the year as a whole. Let's just, for Liam, sort of, let's hope that he's going to be healthy for the Australian Open qualies, and yeah, let's just see where he lands there. And of course, there's going to be some more watch-alongs coming in the next few days. I have no clue what yet, but there will be something for sure. Today we had
yeah.
4 streams. This maybe was the busiest day in Talking Tennis history. I think it's possible. But yeah, 5K
Well, since
subscribers.
last
Uh-huh.
year Australian Open.
Oh yeah, if you say that, but it's like one stream of 15 hours, right? Whereas here
Okay,
we
it's
have like
only
4
one. You're
different
right.
watch-alongs.
It's only one.
But
Yeah,
no, I get what you mean. Like obviously then the streaming time was actually big, longer. But yeah, 4 matches sort of separately. I don't know if you've ever done that.
yeah, yeah,
We've got
yeah.
5,113 subscribers, as you can see on the screen. John is aiming to reach 6K by the end of the Australian Open. He says it's possible. I believe him. He's the CEO. He's the
Yes,
father
exactly.
of this project. So
He knows the
um,
numbers.
exactly, yeah. I mean, he crunched it, he analyzed it, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get there, especially if we stream 4 times a day. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. I don't think he's here anymore, so I will have to end the stream myself. So again, thank you, Mario. Thank you to all the guys in the comments, and we'll see you on some other Talking
Thank you,
Tennis
Raymond.
broadcasts.
Bye bye.